Hi, everyone. This is process mapping and process improvement for small companies. Is it good or is it bad? I'll jump into that. I wanted to make this video because I find there are two camps, and I don't really agree with either of them. I have a different perspective. So I wanted to share my perspective on how to approach process in a small business. So first, it's important to talk through what is process mapping. Process mapping is mapping out specific processes in a series of steps that are normally somewhat visual. The important things to consider are unique tasks, uh, unique people doing it, and especially decision points. So in this example, we have two tasks, and then we have a decision point, normally represented by a diamond, and that creates two different uh, tasks. So normally there's some color coding to represent different things, and there might be swim lanes by specific role. So that's a process. The whole purpose is to just get it out on paper and to understand how things are being created. I wanted to start with what are some of the downsides. So there are at its core two downsides. So the first one is some things just don't fit into a process. For example, can I do this? This might be a stretch. This is going to be really bad. This is a guitar. How do you draw a guitar? This feels really off, but we're gonna go with it. There's some strings. I'm now realizing I don't. That looks more like a pan. I don't know what a guitar looks like. For example, you can't really make a process on here's how I'm going to compose music. Correct me if I'm wrong, musicians. I'm not one, but I don't know many musicians who can sit there and say, I'm going to follow step one, step two, step three, and then I have a wonderful piece of music. Number two is you can create a highly efficient process that doesn't achieve that is less effective. So one example that I see that, and I mean, I'm sure people have a good reason for this, is someone is trying to sell something and they say, "Oh, schedule something on my Calendarly, like for an intake call." Like to me, like when I read that, I'm like, I'm done with you. Like, don't try to sell me something and then make me do the work to try to buy it. Um, I think so. Like that's one example of where it's a highly efficient process, but it might be less effective. The third spot that I don't think it can make sense is when you are lacking data. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, that's not horrible. That's an hourglass for time. So if you're kind of new to something, uh, you're learning it as a company. You don't have data on it. What makes successful things? You're really in a mode of experimentation. You might not be at the point where you have enough data to say this is how the process should or shouldn't be. Okay, when does process mapping and process improvement make sense? There's four four sort of reasons why you might process map. So first is you have a super messy process that a lot of people have to touch. When a lot of people are owning responsibilities with the process, something goes wrong, and then you have frowny faces because it's not clear on how something should be done. So that's one. Number two, when a process is highly manual, I don't really have a good way of showing this. But if you're doing a lot of pen and paper, if you're doing a lot of administrative work, in the age of AI, most of that can be automated. And the first step to automation is understanding your process. Number three, process mapping makes sense if it's never been done. So if it's trying to think how to represent it. We'll just say an X for never been done. If it's never been done, it's likely there's some inefficiencies that you can capture, that you can make more efficient through a process. And the fourth thing, this is pretty big. I'd say any process that's not a core business driver is probably a good candidate for process mapping, because generally we're really good at the stuff we sell, and then we might we might suck at the stuff that we're not directly selling. Those kind of supporting systems. So I'll say S for supporting systems. Okay. Metrics to utilize. There are at the core two metrics to utilize. One is quality. So put a Q here. It's how good of a result are you getting? Think about this video, for example. I am making efficiency trade-offs by trying to create a better video, by making notes ahead of time, by doing a couple of takes. And I am getting to a point where I feel like it's fit for purpose, fit for what I want to achieve. So the first step is you want to know what is the quality of that. Another example is think about a sales process. Is your conversion increasing by steps? And then is your ultimate and then are you getting more customers from that, from a higher quality sales process? Two, the other metric to utilize is something around your efficiency. That's what process mapping is really good at, is creating more efficient processes. And there are for service firms who I work with a lot, there are really two, really anyone who serves someone else, there's really two forms of efficiency. So there's efficiency to yourself. We'll do, here's you. All right, there's efficiency to yourself. That's normally felt in the form of profit. So a highly efficient process will make high profit for you. And then there is efficiency to your customers. Put a C here for customer. And they experience that in the form of cost normally. So really high profit is great. One thing to be aware of is if you're doing stuff in an inefficient manner, at some point the piper will come knocking. Is that the right phrase? It may or may not be. Some point you're going to feel the value of it. I think about firms who started using AI to create efficiencies in their consulting practice, but didn't pass on any of those savings to the customer. And so then when everyone started doing it, they started to lose on price. So that's process mapping and how you can use it to improve processes, make better decisions. I hope it's helpful. It's one of those core things in creating a high-performing environment. So have a good rest of your day, everyone. And remember, blame the performance environment, not the person.